In a world infested with semi-mediocre podcasts, only one show can bring you an exceptionally mediocre podcast. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave.
Remember that party? 4 hours later.
That was great.
That was a great jam.
I love that deep house music that some people like. It's not bad if you're writing like a screenplay or something, but if you're at a party, boy, I don't know.
I think all screenplays written to that soundtrack have raves and ecstasy.
Yeah, maybe every Lena Dunham screenplay was probably written to the deep house riffs behind.
And there's definitely a reference to EDH in there, or EDC.
You hear that? Wow, that was my vodka wasn't going down very smooth there.
Yeah,
Erectile dysfunction something? Is that what
that's right. This is the on sale at Costco, 6 times processed, not clear bottle, sort of a hazy bottle.
Frosted glass.
Frosted looking glass bottle of vodka, which is excellent.
We always drink during the show.
With a twist of lime.
Which I'm pretty sure is pretty evident to people.
It was commented one time that our show is a drinking club.
Oh, maybe we could have the listeners get together at a bourbon tasting and listen to a show, or maybe we can host one.
That would be excellent. A live show with drinks.
That's great. Let's hook it up.
Oh, I like that. All right, so you had something to tell me about.
I heard this on another podcast. Someone was talking about it, but I thought it was funny. I wanted to run it past you because I think it was the Oregonian. It's a newspaper. They had a rather humorous headline on their sports page. It said, "Amphibious pitcher makes debut."
Amphibious,
pitcher. Yeah. The guy's name is, let me blow this up bigger so I can read it. The guy's name was Venditti, I guess, Vendite. He took his warm-up pitches in his major league debut with his right arm and the left. They didn't mean they rolled out a tank of water for him. No, they didn't have to put a big tank of water out on the thing.
They mean he was amphibious dexterous.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. You read everybody who's smart probably read it and just immediately started laughing, and then the morons just kept reading through. Probably, oh, interesting. But in the person's defense, this guy he does throw with either flipper, so that's probably why they immediately thought amphibious. But that was pretty funny. Yeah, amphibious pitcher they have a picture of him throwing with both hands. Pretty great. So that was funny. So they had to apologize. Yeah, sorry about that. He is not, in fact, an amphibious.
He's not amphibious, right?
that I know of.
That's amazing, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we reconnected with an old friend. You have friends that you spend a lot of time with, and and then the wife has a big blowout with your wife, and you never see them again. But the kids were friends. You have this happen, right?
Not yet.
Okay, nice lady. Kids having fun, but the kids wanted to have a play date, so they got together. We chatted and caught up, and we found out that public school's not going quite so well for the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, just sort of thinking, like, we did our first year of homeschool here, and I feel lucky, sort of fortunate that we can do that because, the public school, they don't have any problems, right? Classroom size, no big deal, right?
All of your sons won class president too.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Only 34 kids per class in one of the top school districts here in the state, right? No problems with school lunches. No issue with family right? None of these problems in the public schools. How about technology?
What was that?
No technology issues in public school.
Are you asking me, or are you asking me for
comments? I'm just sort of thinking about public school, and do you think there's ever a problem with technology?
Well, you know me, I'm of the opinion that the Laura Ingalls in Little House on the Prairie got a better education than all of our students are getting now, even in the most high-tech of schools with a little chalkboard sitting in a one-room schoolhouse than we do now. Because if you get the basics down, it's easy for the smart kids. Once you get the basics down, it's easy to
Right.
jump into something like a computer later at home. You'll
Yep.
catch right. You don't need to do that at school for if you're getting the, the reading, writing, arithmetic, the 3 R's we used to call them cutely.
Well, it's even worse.
I don't think they need iPads. Sorry.
When I went,
we get maybe older, but yeah.
When I went to the kindergarten class, it was even worse because they had Windows 98 machines running in the classroom.
Mhm.
Like, how are these helping children? These are just taking up space that they could be writing with.
Yeah, they should be doing math by hand in there if they're learning how to write properly.
Yeah,
and
they don't write anymore.
You do not need a computer to write a good little story. You don't.
Well, some more benefits of public school, as we were thinking about it with this woman's daughter, bullying, that's a benefit of public school. You only get that at a public school. You don't have that in any sort of alternative education environment.
Your sons kind of bully each other a little bit sometimes.
No,
but that's normal.
I think they think that I bully them, but they've never seen real bullying.
Right. Yes. We did have a slight issue with a student there at my daughter's school where we kind of found out there was some extenuating circumstances with this particular girl.
Mm-hmm.
She has a handler that follows her around.
Oh, we had a problem with the handler.
No, it wasn't a big problem. It was just hey, heads up. Okay, no problem. It was fine.
Well, a child that was supposed to have a handler, the handler wasn't there while the child attacked my son. Only one of the many wonderful things that threatened his life in public school before we took him out. From one of the top-rated school districts in California. What a piece of garbage. No child left behind. That's a benefit of public school, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't really know much about that, but I know whenever government, I'm getting a weird echo now. Whenever the government puts out some plan that's called No Child Left Behind, you can pretty much just assume that it's going to be most children left behind. Just flip it over.
Right.
And that's what you're going to get eventually. So whenever you start seeing government things come up like this, like save the puppies,
exactly.
It's going to cost $60 billion and it's going to start. Somehow we ended up killing more puppies than we saved. I don't know how that happened, sir. And then they'll have, the inquest, and then they'll be they'll be dragged up and having to be sworn in.
Right.
Explain what happened to the $80 billion because we thought it was only $60 billion that was lost in the slaughter of puppies that occurred after the Save the Puppy bill was enacted. It turned out to be 80.
Of course, in public school, you
never
have
I think we just got the show title. Hang on.
You never have any problems with parental involvement. Some parents won't even be seen all year. And obesity is never a problem in public school. Of course,
no,
that's a problem in any school. But anyways, public school, yay. Now, on the flip side, classroom size in an alternative education, if you're doing a homeschool program or a charter school, not a problem. You get individual attention.
Yeah.
Income level is kind of irrelevant because most of those programs pay for all the fun things that you want to do. That's cool. Family factors, well, you're probably not going to be homeschooling if you're having a weird family issue at home, or you can work through that. Technology, you don't need it. It's nice. It's nice to have computers. I got a nice MacBook Pro for my kids to have school on.
We can go up the ladder. You got your public school. Well, you got no school first off. Then you got public school,
which is against the law, by the way.
Then you got private schools. Right. And you got homeschool. I think homeschool is probably the top tier. No one is going to care about your kid more than you do.
Okay.
Now, assuming that the parent/teacher is remotely intelligent, which usually they are if they're bothering to attempt that. They're certainly more intelligent than the kid, hopefully, at that stage if they're young. And so no one's going to care more about your kid than you.
Right.
Alarmingly, not even alarmingly, I'm not surprised at all that a lot of these kids who are, winning spelling bees and inventing crap and all kinds of stuff, there's, homeschooled, huh? And then everybody else immediately goes, I bet he has, socializing problems.
Yeah, that's a myth.
Just always there. I think it is too. It's stupid. Your kids, they're fine for 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours studying at home. They go out and play with their friends. There's the socialization. Screw you. So what do you think about vouchers for public school?
Is that still even a topic right now?
It should be.
Should be, right?
Can we explain what the idea of a voucher is to the kind listener out there?
Yeah, the idea would be the school district, which gets lots of money for your student, would give you a little bit of money and say, well, you can choose how you want to spend your money on which school.
Yeah, they give you a voucher for a certain amount of money, say whatever it is that maybe they would have spent on your kid at this school, but you can take it to another school if you want, if you so choose. Now,
well, I think it's a false choice because at least in California, you don't have to go to the school district in your neighborhood. The school district is there to serve you, and oftentimes they spend a disproportionate amount of money on administration and other things rather than on the students. So there are other services like charter schools that you can, let's say you get $1,800 a year per kid. Well, there's some charter schools that they just give you, here's your budget, here's your $1,800. Go spend it on whatever you want. Like, oh, hey, that's cool. I'll do that.
Yeah, you could take the voucher there.
Well, that's why I think the vouchers was just like a couple $100.
Okay, well, if this is a couple $100, then that wouldn't be much of a help. But if they are giving you letting you attaching the money to the student that's going to be spent, that would be obviously a good idea because you can research and find out, gee, the school right next to me is horrible, but this one that's down the street a mile is pretty darn good. Let's go over there. It's kind of hard to do that now. They make it a little bit hard to do that.
Right. Well, I think that's where the politics are.
Or maybe a lot of bit hard.
Because, well, if it's in the same district, you can't just go to whatever school you want. Even if they give you a voucher, if you have 2 high schools from the same district that are equidistant from your house, you're assigned to one and that's it.
Yeah, based on the gerrymandering of your school zone. Or whatever.
You have to have some special reason to go to the other one.
Right.
But you can withdraw from the school district, which was a problem that my friend is having. You can just pull out of the school district and say, screw you guys, you don't get any of my money. You don't get any money for these students.
Is that true? They won't get your money? Or
that's true. They don't get the money. You have to file some paperwork, and that paperwork determines that the school district does not get the money.
Right. School district won't care about that unless an alarmingly large number of people start doing that, which would be a great idea, by the way.
It won't happen. It's not going to happen.
And might I say that usually right-wing type folks are a little bit more in support of the vouchers because it's a little bit more of a free market injection into this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Democrats are usually opposed to it for what reason? It harms blacks. That's their reason for opposing everything.
Excuse me, you're gonna love my big topic. Hey, can I do another?
It's racist.
I need the listeners to hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna do another quick sanity check.
Oh, okay.
And we're back. Thanks for that.
Sorry you had to wait so long.
Little technology bit there. We're having a little crosstalk or something in the headphones, messing us up. So
I'm hearing something else again. Now I'm hearing like this rumbling sound.
Oh, that would be
not my tummy.
That would be the fireworks show.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was. It was going right into the mic. The Disneyland fireworks.
Yes, I don't believe the listeners can hear the fireworks show in the microphones. I wanted to ask you.
Can the listeners hear the prostitute that's tied up and gagged and screaming through her gag in the closet that's right behind me to the left?
No, that's a whisper room.
Okay.
Nothing can be heard coming out of there.
Just checking.
So, have you been watching Star Wars?
Hey,
Rebels?
Wait a minute. We're still in the public school. I want to throw something in real quick.
I was moving on to
entertainment. You heard this about this broad at Burbank High School. What's her name? Dana Dubsbiber.
Dubsbiber. No.
She decided that since seems like most of her students in her class, what grade does she teach? She's a high school English teacher, I guess. Yeah, I think it was her. I think that was her grade. Been teaching for a long time, I think, too. 25 years. Most students in her class are non-white, so she decided she's not going to teach them Shakespeare because, of course, he's an old white guy who's, he
hasn't had any real impact on the English language.
His views are just, kind of out of step with today's non-white kids, and she's going to have them focus on non-white authors.
Tupac.
And she says, everyone's so in love with Shakespeare. I just don't think he's all that. I don't think it's that great. So. You're an idiot, Mrs. Dubsbiber. Mm-hmm. Someone who's smart needs to sit you down and explain to you why Shakespeare is great. We've been reading Shakespeare and performing Shakespeare, making movies about Shakespeare, and injecting countless, Shakespeareisms into the culture. It's so seeped into the culture. Mm-hmm. The rose by any other name and the to be or not to be. This is stuff that they're going to be completely missing if if you sidestep Shakespeare. They're not going to get any of this stuff. It's wisdom. It's philosophy.
It's a detriment to the student not to be exposed to this.
It is. She's harming them. And I mean, was she going to Da Vinci Oh, don't show him the Mona Lisa. It's a white guy right. Painted that.
But
Greeks, Romans.
They're all white guys. There are excellent authors who have different color skin.
Sure, of course. And you can include them, but don't not include Shakespeare, you moron. Stinking moron. Oh my God. Really. I mean, I tried to sit down and start writing some of them down, but I didn't really get very far. But there's just so many, like just a couple that I mentioned, and there's so many movies that are, vague adaptations of them, of Shakespeare plays. You have to know some Shakespeare, and it's beautiful. The guy, I mean, I would not want to deny, young teenage boy, the Henry V, those speeches are amazing. So she is a dumb. See you next Tuesday.
In my 4th grade class, one of our class reading activities, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, was to read Shakespeare out loud.
Yeah.
This is how I got into reading out loud. I mean, I was already an avid reader, but to vocalize and to act out what I'm reading with my voice came from reading Midsummer Night's Dream in 4th grade.
Great.
And Romeo and Juliet, and I forget what we did in 6th grade.
Yeah, anything that we're still reading avidly after 400 years or so, keep it in the freaking curriculum, you moron.
Right.
Seriously. You were an idiot. Did you have to read? I don't remember if we had to read out loud like Romeo and Juliet, if they had us do it in that iambic pentameter. Is that what that one's called? Pentameter or iambic, where you read it with like an accent on the syllables, like when you read Romeo and Juliet, if you don't have to read it that way, but it kind of helps because you get the meter of it. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. The accent those, and it's like 5. Yeah, whatever it was, 5 set.
Pentameter's 5.
Yeah, pentameter. Yeah. Whatever, you can look it up. Look up iambic pentameter.
It's supposed to be like a walking rhythm.
'Tis the east, and Juliet is the sun. Yeah. It alternates 5 and 7 or something like that. But it's kind of fun to read it that way. You're like, huh, oh, damn. Not only is he fantastic in writing all this interesting philosophy, but he's also able to do he's like Eminem.
He's like a poet.
Yeah.
So modern day poetry, though, modern day Shakespeare's work in large teams for the Walt Disney Company and Pixar, and
sure, and they steal from Shakespeare all the time.
Well, and
I mean, or homage,
Well, if you look at Star Wars Rebels season 2, the first episode, The Siege of Lothal, came out. And Dave Filoni, the executive director, he was talking about when they're making scenes in the Clone Wars, which I think they did 6 seasons of before, and in Star Wars Rebels, and in this upcoming season, they'll look at movies like, I want this next scene to be like Jaws. Sure. So the whole writing team will go and watch Jaws and come back to write that scene. Or he'll say, I want this feeling from this movie in this scene, and they'll go, and the way that Dave Filoni's talking about it, what when we go to watch Star Wars Rebels, what we're really getting is the best of film study written in a particular genre that some of us really like. Some of us really like Star Wars. And it's some of the best writing, best animation. This Siege of Lothal, it's a 40-minute season 2 premiere. The setting is 5 years before episode 4 of Star Wars, the one you have memorized.
Yeah.
The crew of the Ghost, that's a ship, has connected with other rebel cells and Ahsoka Tano. Do you know her?
No.
You ever watch Clone Wars?
No.
Okay, good. Make a note. Dave not only
up on Clone Wars.
Okay, but you'll like this part. James Earl Jones and Billy D. Williams are both in it.
Hello, what have we here?
Yeah. He's a big, he's a
Yo,
big
space
flirt.
pirate, how you doing? Got a lot of guts coming here after what you pulled.
And they're both great. And this show calls back to episode 4 and 5 and 6 in various ways.
Where can I see this? Is this on Netflix or something?
No, it just came out. Do you have comedy?
No.
Cartoon Network?
No.
No, I bought it on iTunes.
Oh.
You could try Popcorn
Mr.
Time.
Fancy Pants over. I think it was on Slingbox, but as I said, Slingbox crashed my Roku player every 15 minutes. So I have to get a new Roku, or they have to figure out what the hell they're doing wrong over there before I would think about buying that again.
Maybe, well, whatever.
Next NBA season, I'll get it. But
if you're into Star Wars, you might enjoy this. It's excellent.
All right.
And that's not really gaming. That's sort of my TV shows that I like to follow, but there's been a couple of big updates in Hearthstone. You still have never checked out Hearthstone, huh?
I saw a commercial for it, though.
Oh, nice. That's good.
I've already forgot what it was, though.
Well, Hearthstone is a collectible card game that I play, and they recently announced a new mode called the Tavern Brawl. So this is a thing with collectible card games like Magic the Gathering, or Legend of the Five Rings, or any of the other card games, Pokemon, that people... I never played Pokemon. I played the others. You get a bunch of cards, you make a deck, you play other people. But what makes it really interesting are these different tournament modes. So Tavern Brawl was just released, where they give you... This last week was a fixed set, these two really badass decks, and you randomly get to play one of them. So you get to play, it was really fun. I played a lot of Tavern Brawls. And there's a big patch in World of Warcraft that just came out. I haven't checked it out yet, but... A big patch where it's a new software feature that gets released.
Stick it onto your previous...
Well, you download an extra 3 or 4 gigabytes of data.
I thought a patch was something that's fixing something that's wrong, though.
No, this patch is... There's 25 gig software, and they're adding new features to it.
Okay.
So they
patch it on.
They patch it on.
All right.
This is adding ships to the garrisons.
Uh-huh.
So if you're listening and you haven't played World of Warcraft in a while, go download the patch and jump back in. We'll do some garrison ship battle, whatever that means.
Maybe we can do a podcast during World of Warcraft session. Like
I might not be very good paying attention to it.
Pay attention to Warcraft or the podcast?
Both.
Yeah. We should try it. We don't have to release it if it sucks.
Usually I'm on Skype with some of my friends.
Well, people will have fun. If we can record it, put it out on YouTube, and people can watch as I get stuck in a corner and I can't figure out how to move out of the corner.
No, that's
you guys
good.
are out slaying orcs, and I'm like running into a rock, and then running to the left into a rock, and then jumping on the rock, and then I turn around, then I go straight, and I run to another rock, and I just run and run. That's me. I can't figure out how to move the goddamn character.
That's easy.
Do they have robot grocery stores there?
Do they have robot
in the
grocery
Star Wars
stores?
In the Star Wars shows? They have robot grocery stores.
They have robots everywhere.
This Des Moines, Iowa, is introducing a robotic grocery store.
Oh, do they?
I thought you'd like this because is this the tech session yet?
We can go right into tech. I got tech stuff.
It was just on my thing. I wanted to make sure I talked about it because I thought it sounded cool. That
was a good segue. It's a better segue if you just keep going with it.
I like my segues to be completely transparent. Robot grocery store gives high-tech upgrade to food shopping. I guess they're setting up this thing. The picture they have, it looks like a 7-Eleven or something. It's just like chock full of stuff. But I guess the idea, you go up, you pay with an ATM card, you touchpad stuff. Like, I want some tomato juice, I want some mayonnaise, I want some eggs, and it would come out, of the thing. I hope this video doesn't start here because it's going to mess up the microphone here. But
interesting.
There will be the standard complaints that it's going to, displace workers.
Of course.
And I say to that, there's one thing to think of whenever you think of that. Okay, robots are coming. Sorry. If anything, if it's discovered in the free market that you can do something cheaper and more efficiently, just do it. Don't wait. Just effing do it. Because the longer you wait, someone else is going to do it anyway, and someone's going to be doing it outside of the country or outside of the zone you set up you put your tariffs in to protect people against robot grocery stores, because we want human grocery stores. Damn it! Always think back to the horseshoe people. When the cars were coming in, oh my God, people are what are the horseshoe makers going to do? What are the carriage makers going to do? They'll find something.
Yeah,
they're not just going to stand there and starve to death because they're humans. They're going to, I need to get a new job. Okay. I need to train something else. Okay.
Well, and actually robotics in manufacturing is going to be fantastic for us, for our economy, and for our jobs. Because see, we missed the boat. 30 years ago, 40 years ago even, in the 70s, we had a really strong manufacturing economy. And then when China started to do manufacturing for cheaper, we started, and fuel to ship things back was less expensive than doing it here or in Mexico or India or Indonesia or wherever we're getting things made. It's cheaper to go do it somewhere else and pay them instead of $200 a day here, $200 a month in India, where they're living at the same lifestyle. Now with robotic manufacturing, like Apple did with the Mac Pro, they can put a plant together, have a couple of highly trained people to run the plant, and have the machines make the computers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing that Honda's doing with lots of their cars.
Now, ultimately, it makes the goods cheaper. And now, eventually, this kind of thing eventually corrects itself, because once you displace enough workers, they can't buy the product that the robots are making. This is a self-correcting problem. They'll stop making stuff, or they'll have to, we have to figure out we need to give these people jobs. Or if you're Democrats, say, we got more people on the welfare dole, so we need to give them some more money.
Right, we get more people on the dole, but with manufacturing, what I'm saying is that we've already lost those jobs. Yeah. We're never again going to have an economy of slave labor sewing underwear for Fruit of the Loom. Mm-hmm. Right? Mexico.
I do that for fun though, like on the
Mexico
weekends.
owns that, right? Yeah. Indonesia owns that. Like that is happening all over the world in third world countries. But as we innovate and we bring in robotics to do that, we're going to get tons of high-paying quality jobs. They're going to pay people more than minimum wage to actually go do the work.
Or you're gonna get a super low-paying job when the robots hire you to do some menial task that they can't quite do, and then they'll whip you and stuff.
Oh, the robots could hire you to do some of the maintenance
will be
work.
Like my supervisor's a robot. Like, at the robot grocery store, I can't wait to hear things like clean up aisle 6, and the robot grocery store, or can I get a price check on Nilla wafers?
Now, why can't you do that yourself, Max?
By the way, it's Nilla wafers, not vanilla wafers. I hear people say vanilla wafers all the time. It's look at the package.
It literally is Nilla.
Nilla wafers. And while I'm on that,
I think they were sued because there's no vanilla in the product.
Oh, is that why they had to change it to Nilla wafers?
Yeah, I seem to recall that from.
We should look that up. But it's called Nilla wafers.
If only there was some place where we could go to find random information.
While I'm on that, it's not etc. It's et cetera. Like ET. Think of ET.
Yep, 2 words.
Et cetera.
There's no X in espresso.
No X. Good one. Espresso, not espresso. People bookmark this one. Okay, if you're a person who says antidote instead of anecdote, like when you're telling a story, anecdote, not antidote. Antidote is something you take if you drink poison by mistake.
Antidote is something I'm going to need after I listen to your story and I die from the poison of it.
If you have something from a trip that you bought at a store, it's not called a memento. It's called a memento. Mem, like memory. It's called memento. This is turning into a rant, isn't it? This is great. What else? When you write I was supposed to get that email. It's supposed, not suppose to. It's supposed. I was supposed with the ed to. What else? What else? Don't say supposedly. It's supposedly. Like Zed. Supposedly. This is a new one too. And it's hard to. I had to like really slow down because I think I've heard people say all of a sudden this thing happened instead of all of a sudden.
Right.
What is that?
Or
suddenly is easy. You just use that one. But a lot of people I've heard. I think the guy in Ghost Hunter says all of a sudden. I'm like, what is this? All of a sudden. What does that mean? It's all of a sudden. People.
I don't get it.
And fort and forte. This one I accept because it sounds weird to say that's not my fort, but even though that's correct, we say forte is a piano, right?
Forte is the loud note, piano is the soft note.
Yeah, there you go, piano forte. But you don't say math is not my forte. You would say math is not my fort, but it sounds a little funny. So I understand why people.
See, I learned that one on All Things Being Equal.
Oh, that's right. Oh, did they say that one on there? I forgot. Well, okay. Yeah, they did bring that up, didn't they?
Yeah. So remember we talked about Google Photos last?
Yeah, I've been using the crap out of. I'm all up in Google Photos, but.
So now we've got literally hundreds of gigs up there, and I've decided there's a real problem. It might be too late. I can go back in time to the 90s, and I can see pictures of myself. They have a feature that says, here's a face.
You're not alone.
No, that's not the problem. And I start looking through all the pictures through the years, and I swear Google Photos is messing with me. The closer I get to current time, the worse and worse I look.
Okay.
Google Photos is missing a marketing opportunity by reversing the stream And starting with the terrible looking photos and moving up and up to the newer ones.
Well, who can we call about this? You're right.
Now, Google also released a new service for us. Remember when they bought everyone's favorite streaming music player, Songza, before Spotify was a big thing?
Songs I used for about 3 days, and then it got
Google
bought by
them.
someone else. Yeah.
Google bought them, shut it down. It's been a long time. And now, today, actually, as of today, which we're recording this on Tuesday, June 23rd, you can listen to Google Play Music on the web, and you'll get all the Songs and features. So now you can choose brand new music or driving or
I use Google Play a lot.
out.
That's only the web version, right? Because I noticed it doesn't work on my phone app. I can't play radio stations on there.
It will in the next week.
Yeah,
the next
great.
Week or two.
Google
new.
Play Music, people, is awesome. I've kind of, because I have limited real estate on my phone because I have the 8 gig because I'm kind of poor, and I just decide, the 8 gig's fine. But you can't have a lot of apps.
It's not that you're poor. You chose to be economical.
I chose to get a free phone, and my job was paying for that one. So,
instead of wasting $400 to get an iPhone 6 Plus, 64 gig with a year of extended
so I paid
insurance.
$0 for my iPhone. I love it. I have a 5C. But here's what you do. You get your Google Play, get your download FreeMake YouTube downloader. Just search all the artists you want. Say, download this crap, and it throws them into a folder. You can set that folder up to upload directly to Google Play Music. And you can just have just search and have hundreds of things upload. I have 6,000 songs uploaded in mine. They take 50,000 for free. They'll let you upload your music. You can access it. And now you can do stations, you're saying, kind of like Spotify and Pandora, right?
Right.
Get rid of Pandora and Spotify and just use Google Play Music. And then you can have access to your own music that you've uploaded to. And it'll also suck all the music out of your iTunes library and off of your computer, and it'll let you upload that for free. It's awesome.
So it will take all of the music that you own, plus you'll now be able to stream all the music that's out there in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can buy stuff too on there, right? Yeah. You can buy songs.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Because you're limited to the number of downloads. It's weird, but if you buy it on Google Music, you can only download it once or twice.
Amazon Music's actually cheaper. Sometimes we get a song for like 79 cents and then just throw that in there and upload it to Google Play Music.
Amazon, if you can get through the interface, they'll oftentimes have $5 albums. I like to buy albums, and you get the MP3. It's about as good quality as you're going to get. So, but I happen to have about 17,000 songs in my library, many of which come from that CD collection to your right.
Maybe I should shop that and take some of those home, by the way.
You're not taking my CDs home, but I'll let you listen right here in this room to any of those.
Like a listening bar. Remember they used to have CD listening bars for you kids? We used to be able to go and, test out that new Eels CD or, that new Hooverphonic CD. By the way, I like those bands, Hooverphonic and Eels. Go check them out.
So I came across something really strange in education. As you know, I work in education.
Yeah.
I work at a couple colleges. I try to follow the education news, and this really interesting thing came up that the UC system is doing, and they're going around with their political correctness patrol now, and they're trying to educate their administrators to not say certain things.
Is this the microaggressions list that I heard?
Oh yes, because America is the land of opportunity is now considered a racial microaggression by UC administration.
Yeah, so say that again. America is the land of opportunity. That's a microaggression against who? Like if you say it to me, is it a microaggression?
It's because by me saying that, a minority, which is anybody but you, by the way, that for the listeners,
I am a majority.
Dave is a white male.
No. I'm a minority. I'm a vaginally challenged, melanin deficient American.
Okay. Exactly. So everybody but you is apparently offended by America being the land of opportunity. Now, what's a microaggression? Because this is the first question I had. Microaggressions are the everyday verbal, nonverbal, and environmental slights, snubs, or insults, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicate hostile, derogatory, or negative messages to target persons based solely upon their marginalized group membership.
You have a list? I want to hear more.
Yeah. Give me more. Dave, where are you from? That's a microaggression. I
was born in Linwood, California. That's a microaggression?
That's a microaggression. Where were you born?
Really?
This is a micro.
Well, this is only to inferior brown people. If you ask that question,
if you ask it at all,
if you ask that of an inferior,
you're supposed to take this out of your vocabulary. Okay. If you say, "I believe the most qualified person should get the job," this is a microaggression. Oh, and this one's good too.
These are actually on their list, right? To avoid saying, right?
Well,
and who put this list together?
And I got all these from the UCLA Diversity and Faculty Development.
By the way, all liberals,
PDF,
all progressive,
called
liberals,
Diversity
all
in the Classroom.
Liberal Democrat. This list is brought to you by liberal progressive Democrats. Thank you. Let's hear more.
Well, I had one more. If you said gender plays no part in who we hire, if you just say that. Now, what are you supposed to say? We're really looking to hire chicks for the secretary position, and I don't see a skirt or boobs on you, dude. So good luck. Are you supposed to say that?
That's much better than just simply saying that we are not going to discriminate because of your gender.
Right. So I wanted to say, what is this microaggression message? So, for example, if you ask somebody, where are you from or where were you born? What you're telling them is you're not a true American or you're a foreigner in your own country.
That's right.
And if you
That's
continue,
obviously because you could not possibly be curious about if you hear an accent. Like I was having beers at a Halloween party. Actually, it was before that I met this guy, but I couldn't quite place his accent. But he is white. He is a superior person that you can't offend. So usually I'm always right when I can't tell if it's Australian or British. It's why South African. So I guess South African, that was right. But I can't tell South African, except I can't pick it out. So I know it must be South African. He's South African.
Interesting. Now it says here under on the UCLA Diversity and Faculty Development that a microaggression.
Do they have a vice chancellor of that department?
I'm sure.
I'd like to apply for that.
If you continue to mispronounce the names of students after the student has corrected you time and time again.
That's going on at my daughter's school.
Oh,
yeah.
They can't say Sophie?
No, it's a different person. It's like a Japanese girl. They just changed her name, and there's a Vietnamese girl there too. They changed her name too.
Right.
But now those little girls go by the changed name because everyone calls them that at school.
Right.
So now they just give the wrong name. I won't say their names, but
I mean,
yeah, it's funny.
I get every semester there's at least a group of Vietnamese students in my classroom, which is the funny part is, and it seems anecdotal, but it's literally every semester there's 3 or 4 Vietnamese students that seem to sit together all in the same row. And it's a different group of students every semester, but they always sit in the same row, the 3rd row back on my left-hand side. And I can't understand why that is. That is the row. It's sort of become a theme. But some of the names are very difficult.
Sure.
Even when I try hard, it's difficult. Like my friends always told me, if your name is spelled Nguyen, you either call it Win. That's what I learned in middle school, or you say Nugent. That
doesn't make any sense.
Whatever they want.
That reminds me of a little anecdote about that. I remember in 7th grade, 8th grade, I was in 7th and 8th grade when the massive influx of Vietnamese refugees came over. So if you look at my yearbook, it's like all these white kids, a couple black kids, and then there's like 6 pages of Win, and it's pretty funny. But all before that, there's none because they all just came like in 79, 80. But I remember the teacher. I remember the guy's name. His name was Mr. Gutcher. He was like a math guy, but he's reading the names. He's like going, Trong Nguyen here, Fung Nguyen here, Trin Nguyen here, and it was quiet. And then someone goes, Ted Nguyen. Got a big laugh. Of course, the Vietnamese kids are like, "What? That's a microaggression." Now, but it was funny. Ted Nugent. That was great. I think the kid that said that, his name was Bucky. So if you're listening, Bucky, whatever your last name was, you went to Warner Junior High School in 79, 80.
You should be listening, funny. Bucky.
I remember it.
So Dave, according to UCLA, if you see a person who might not look safe to you and you cross to the other side of the street, what you're telling them is you think they're dangerous and they're going to steal from you.
Yeah.
So what
should you do if you're frightened of this person? Well, let's say you're a 4'6" girl.
I think according to the UCLA Diversity and Faculty Development Department, you should walk up to them, treat them as equals, and if you happen to be raped or robbed, because criminal elements are criminal elements, no matter what their skin color is, you should go to the faculty diversity and you should, the Diversity and Faculty Development 2014, you should go to them and say, I need you to pay for this, the medical bills.
Yes, pick up your rape kit, tuck it into your tube top that you shouldn't have been wearing to incur that rape, take it to the nearest police station, and then, just handle your business that way.
Now here's the one that really blew me away. The myth of meritocracy, because this whole thing about hiring to specific quotas, that's come back. Where they say we need to have 4 Mexicans, 6 blacks, and 12 of the people need to be female. Like, you ever heard of that before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what UCLA is saying is there's a myth of meritocracy. So this is where if you say you believe the most qualified person should get the job, what you're saying, your message, is that people of color are given extra unfair benefits because of their race.
Mm-hmm. That never happened.
Now there's 2 dense pages of this BS, and I certainly don't want to be especially in the position when I'm teaching a classroom of diverse students, where I'm singling out any one group. Mm-hmm. But boy, if I can't be fair by saying you do your work and I grade you no matter who you are, then I'm in the wrong business.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have meritocracy, we don't have anything.
Right. I mentioned Bruce Jenner being a Republican last week on the show, and there's a reason why a lot of the sports people, kind of a higher percentage of sports people, are actually kind of Republicans, like on the sly, the right wingers. Why do you think that might be?
Because they think.
Well, yeah, but sports is the true meritocracy, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, you're good, you're in. That's free market.
Right.
And they make a lot of money. They can choose to do a lot of charity. A lot of them do. That's great. I like charity. Awesome. But I like voluntary charity.
Right.
They pay a lot of taxes. Charles Barkley is a famous right-winger guy, and he's, pilloried because he's black, and you're supposed to be a Democrat if you're black. And, the whole quota thing, it seemed like a good idea at the time. Actually, I probably would have been okay with it at the time, but you need to put a limit. Okay, for the next 10 years, we're going to have these programs in place, but we need to get away from them eventually, because eventually, like I've made this analogy before, as if you break your leg, you need a cast, but the leg heals, you got to take the cast off. Because we got right now is people walking around with a giant cast on their leg and the leg's healed. Now the cast is like become part of the leg. Mm-hmm. It's now hindering your ability.
Right.
You don't need it now. And don't think, Republicans and Democrats, you're both guilty of this too. You both decided we got to help black folks more than we're helping everyone else. And what you should have done was just remove barriers. Just get rid of barriers. Let them loose. And
right.
In the areas that they did do that, we've got even overrepresented black folks in there. Entertainment industry, sports, they're doing awesome. There's no quotas there. It's all merit based, and they're kicking ass.
Well,
excellent.
I want to make one more point on this, because what got me onto this whole topic was the Los Angeles Times stating that when you call affirmative action racist, that is in itself a racial microaggression. Mm-hmm. So you can't even talk about the thing that's causing the problems.
Well, we all know what's causing the racism now. It's the Confederate flag.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
And should we talk about this before we?
No, but let me tell you one interesting story about it. So
Confederate flag?
Yeah, about the Confederate flags. My roommate in the Army, like he helped me out when I switched from the division of blowing things up and driving tanks over to playing trombone for a living. I had a roommate that was very amenable, and he really helped me integrate into the band, and I really enjoyed hanging out with him. Jim was a good guy, nice, proud Southerner.
Proud
Southerner.
I know where this is going. That's a euphemism.
But I'm Jewish, and we never had a problem. He's a great guy. Now, he didn't stand up for some of the BS, and that military life wasn't good for him. After 5 years, I decided not to stay in and go career either, because I eventually would have done something like he did too. But at one point,
what did he do?
Well, I'm going to tell you about the one story, not about his career.
Okay.
I got an Israeli flag, And he said, hey, you should put your Israeli flag up on the wall. So I put it up on the wall. And he said, I'll put my Confederate flag up on the wall. So if you walked into our dorm, it was cool. We had our bunks were made neatly. Everything was spotless. Our shoes were all lined up. And on my wall, I had the Israeli flag. And on his wall, and I had just met the Israeli top 7 generals. By the way, they had come to do a tour.
Oh, wow.
And I got to meet with them. They tried to get me to go to Israel. And they were here to buy Abrams tanks. And it was very cool. And they gave me a flag to put up.
Cool.
So in our room was like, hey, this is cool. We have 2 flags. But from our window, which was on the 2nd story, down in the parking lot, the black sergeant major could look up through the window and see the Confederate flag.
He didn't like it?
And that was almost the end of Mr. James.
But he was a nice guy, though.
He got in.
You said.
So, yeah, but
it
didn't matter because the black sergeant major, which, I mean, so in military enlisted life, the sergeant major is basically God until an officer gets involved. And even then, the officer doesn't really want to mess with the sergeant major.
By the way, military and other merit-based system, pretty much, where black people doing great, doing just fine.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, but he could see it from the window, and when he asked me, who lived in the room, I explained, and I said, oh, and that's my roommate, and I have my Israeli flag up on the other side, and I'm just curious, why is this a problem? And he explained to me that the Confederate flag was very offensive to him, that he and his people, his relatives were enslaved in the South, and he didn't want to see a Confederate flag up. And then he went to town on James.
Did he have to drop and give him like 5,000?
I think it was way worse than that. I think it was months of.
I have to decide with the sergeant major on this one. It seems like it's about time that flag did move on to the museum.
It was insensitive. I don't mind it's on Bo and Luke Duke's car.
That's what kind of. Let's talk to black people right now. Most white people kind of just think that that's what it is. It's from Bo and Duke's car. They don't freaking know. I mean, yeah,
it's from the Dukes of Hazzard.
They have no idea. It looks like a pretty. Wasn't it originally a British thing too? Like the Union Jack. What's that? It's similar.
Was it?
I think it's borrowed from. We have to look that up.
I don't know. That's my wife. She's a good Southern girl.
Yeah. But we have to talk about this in conjunction. We're going. This is an epic show today, but
let's save the Confederate flag talk to see what shakes out till next week.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about this horrific church shooting, which is setting off this Confederate flag business. Because this is getting an old topic. Everyone's been talking about this.
I think the church shooting is going to tie back into the drugification of America's youth. So we'll see. Let's see what shakes out with that again. I don't want to go too late. We might lose some of our most avid listeners.
Yeah, they like us to keep it light and fit.
Yeah, light and fit and funny.
But next week, let's talk about this horrific church shooting.
All right.
A little bit. We'll see what's going on with that.
If you have something to say about the church shooting or anything we've had today, we'd like you to call our hotline at 657-206-0777 and leave us a message. We want to hear your voice, and we appreciate you. Yes, Dave?
I wanted to jump in. Before Sable's done, pick up the device that you're listening on, or if you're at your computer, find the little like button or like the little thumbs up. Hit it. Just right now. I'll wait.
You can hit that
I'm waiting
button
for them. Yeah. Hit the little like button. Do something to say that, hey, you like our show.
Facebook.com/The Indispensable Thursday Show, or you can follow us on Twitter at Sable and Dave. I would like to thank you for subscribing. You can find the Indispensable Thursday Show on iTunes and everywhere that fine podcasts are served.
It's true. You can. That's all I got to say.
Oh, and what about Mark Maron and Obama?
We'll have to talk about that next week.
All right. Well, next week's going to be a busy week. All right.
Oh, my God, yes.
Thanks, Dave. See ya.
Thanks, Dave.